She's not here. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Why So Sidious, a Nerd podcast. Joining me today are my co-hosts, David and Jeremy, and we are live on YouTube bringing you our coverage of Stranger Things Season 5, Volume 2, Chapters 5 through 7. Don't forget to check out some of our recent episodes. We did our full coverage of It, Welcome to Derry. It was a very unexpectedly great show. Of course, our Road to Secret Wars is back, and we're headed to that final event. We have our weekly series, Week in Geek, where we bring you all the latest news, rumors, trailers, things like that. So go check it out. And our 2 upcoming episodes soon will be the annual City Awards, where we talk about the best shows, movies, actors, actresses from the year of 2025, and also our 2026 box office draft. So a lot of big things coming ahead. And don't forget to check us out on social media at Why So Sidious Pod on Instagram, TikTok, X, and YouTube. So this will be your official spoiler warning for Season 5, Volume 2, Chapters 5 through 7. If you haven't go seen it yet, I know it just came out on Christmas, so we are bringing this quick. So go finish it, and then this will be ready and waiting for you. So a quick summary for Episode 5, not going to get too deep into it. Basically, Callie tells Eleven how and why she was captured. Jonathan and Nancy discuss their relationship, Dustin and Steve as well, while looking for the shield generator. The crew in the right side up is going full Frankenstein, and Holly continues to try and escape Henry. So to kick things off, Elle is a little upset about the whole suicide mission thing that Hopper was trying to do in the last volume, which makes sense, you know, kind of messed up, especially he didn't tell her about it first.
Right.
And then as they're waiting for them at the church, Callie, or number 8, explains how she was captured, that Dr. K needed her blood, and they took a lot of it too to impregnate women to try to create more superpowered kids. But her blood is not as pure as Henry's, and 11 is basically the closest thing to him, so that's why the military is after them. So, JD, did you like this 8 backstory? Did it work for you?
Yeah, the backstory is fine. I guess the military inclusion is kind of throwing a weird wrench into things. It's kind of a curveball from what we're dealing with overall in the Stranger Things series. But 8 is someone I didn't love in season 2. I think that was. This season, however, because it's not really her as a character. It was just the story that they went on with Elle over there. But here, she does add like a mysterious dynamic. Like, I don't know if she's actually a benefactor, because it seems like she seems like she is, but it also seems like she might not be. Like, there's a certain, she seems chaotic, or she seems like she's kind of got her own goals or something. And Hopper's there to be like questioning her, kind of like the audience might. So I'm digging her dynamic. It does bring kind of like spy thriller aspects, just in the way that we don't know if she's good or bad or what side she's playing. Mm-hmm. So 8, way better this time around. So I'm interested.
Yeah, she's kind of pissing me off. Definitely pissing me off. I don't know. I don't know if it's as simple as she just doesn't think that it's as simple as they think it is, which, to be fair, if you grew up being experimented on and then you went and lived on the streets of Detroit for the rest of your life with a ragtag group of guys that all got murdered in front of you, you're probably going to have a pessimistic way of looking at life. And then you go show up with Elle and you see the corniest group of people you've ever seen in your life say, we can do this. We got it. You're a sorcerer. Oh, everything's going to be great. We'll find a waterfall. All this just happy-go-lucky nonsense, corny stuff. So from her perspective, I kind of understand her being like, you guys are morons. Do you realize what we're facing? Like, there's a happy ending here. What are you talking? You guys are a bunch of kids. Like, so I kind of get that aspect to her. It doesn't make her character enjoyable, though, for the scenes, because she's just always a Debbie Downer and is always bringing Elle down. But she is reinforcing my theory that we ended off with episode 5, recapping season 4 of Stranger Things. I had a big theory how I thought this season was ending, and she kind of nodded at it. So I might be claiming the prize soon here.
Yeah. Sorry. I was writing down. You reminded me of a theory. We're going to do some theories at the end of this episode here for the finale. So
there you go.
With our crew that's still left in the Upside Down, there's a good Return of the Jedi reference. You guys like that? When we're talking about, hey, you ever seen Return of the Jedi? The whole shield generator stuff.
Yeah,
So that
he's
was
like,
pretty
it's
cool.
the best one. I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, well, that
Gold.
tracks because kids love it.
Yeah,
Right?
with the teddy bears.
Well, Steve dropped that line last season or the season before when they were trying out for the movie theater or the rental store.
Yeah.
It was funnier that time though because the clerk was testing him to see if he'd be a good fit. And he's like, "What's your favorite Star Wars film?" He's like, "One with the teddy bears, obviously." Where? Like his little is just perfect. So yeah, it was fun. It was a good nod.
I forgot to ask because since we moved on from 8, but she actually has the power to make people see things. Like I didn't know if I took that out of the previous season or I must have forgot because that seems crazy that she could make herself appear where she is for Dr. K to go in there and then find out that it's a projection pretty quick, but still like that's strong.
Yeah,
It was
good.
It was cool what she was doing with 11 later, like inside her mind when she was like, and it was like kind of in her mind, but she was like projecting like what could happen to her out in front of her.
Yeah,
That was cool.
That's kind of why I feel like she's got this villain aspect to her, though, and I don't know that she can trust or not, though, because she's messing with Elle's mind. She's literally messing with her head, telling her, trying to manipulate her in a certain way, and she's kind of. And every time she says something, Hopper's in the background rolling his eyes, and I kind of feel that way too whenever she's saying certain stuff. But yeah, her power was pretty crazy in season 2. Like she created the whole overpass crumbled, and the cop slides to a stop, and then the other cops are like, "What the hell are you doing?" Like. And he finds out, oh, nothing happened. It was just a hallucination. But I thought she had to be close to them to do that. And she was pretty far away from Dr. K.
that's what made it seem so strong.
Yeah, that was wild.
You're right. She's just trying to get into her head. We don't know why, but it's not like she's there being like, all right, how can I help? Like, what do you want me to do? It's none of that. It's only like, yo, dark, scary, scary.
Right. And then she says, yeah, I'll go inside Vecna's mind with you or something. Like I'll be there inside with you. It's like, you could
Don't
stay
like that.
behind. Yeah, I don't like that. So Steve and Dustin are still arguing. They still got their beef going, and there's some pretty good like back and forth they have where Dustin says, going after someone else's girlfriend when the world is ending. I was like, damn, son. And then Dustin basically is still grieving Eddie, and he can't go through that again. But then Steve brings up a good point. We talked about this, about Eddie's heroic sacrifice, where he's, he just wanted to play hero and he didn't really save anybody. Like, what was the benefit of Eddie doing the rock show and then doing that? He maybe made the bats stay behind a little bit longer, but like Steve kind of makes a good point here, right?
We talked about it too, like you said, right? Like we specifically were like, yeah, that didn't really.
He said the quiet part out.
Well, I was, I'm kind of sick of Dustin and Steve fighting, but I will say it's getting to a point where just the acting is so good that I'm not minding it anymore. The scenes themselves are captivating me anyway. Like sick of them fighting, would much rather them get along, but their scenes together have been very deep, emotional, and pretty intense. So really well done acting by both of them. So I'm fine if they're going to keep beefing, if they're going to keep it to that quality of acting.
I think Dustin's the best actor out of at least the boys.
Yeah.
He's killed it. He's killed it this season. Gaten's been amazing. Tell me, can you hear me? I'm having a little bit of connectivity issues over here. Am I coming through all right? Dude, Steve absolutely said the quiet part out loud. That's what we've been saying this whole time. They made this huge deal about Eddie's sacrifice, and at the end of the day, it was like, was that really a sacrifice though? Like, in Dustin is obviously heartbroken. He was being a little jackass here, but I get it. He's heartbroken. That was one of his best friends, and he's now terrified of losing Steve and everybody else too. But Steve straight up called it. He's like, bro, he didn't save anybody. And Dustin's like, you saved everybody. It's like, no, bro, you were through the hole. You were already back in Hawkins. He was halfway through that hole. And then he decided to take 5 minutes to jump down, gear himself up, go outside and chase after these bats. And all that time you guys would have been through. And the only thing that stopped the bats from killing Dustin too, who came back because Eddie left him, they both would have been dead. But thankfully they stopped Vecna in time. So he saved nothing there. So it was kind of nice though for the Duffer Brothers to acknowledge that it wasn't this amazing sacrifice that Eddie made. It was more of Eddie needing to make the decision to be the hero rather than it was more of Eddie actually being the hero there. So that was a big gripe of mine last season. And this scene with Dustin and Steve right here actually helped that a lot for me.
Hey, nailed it.
Yeah. And then John and Nancy find the shield generator, and this is right when Dustin finds out. He sees Dr. Brenner's journal, and if it's just if everyone will die if they destroy it, but Nancy basically says fuck it and shoots it, and that's the last we see of them in this episode. Maybe should have waited a little bit longer. Like Jonathan holds it down. He's like, should we do this? She's like, I don't know, but let's do it anyways. Like,
how many times has a faulty walkie-talkie or signal like caused chaos in the Stranger Things universe? Like, it's always a walkie-talkie that's not functioning in time, and then they go and make a mistake.
Right, and I guess but they were only like what 4 floors above them. They couldn't get the walkie-talkie through that.
I think it's because the antenna snapped when they were fighting, which was a super annoying scene. And Steve never once actually hit Dustin, which I kind of like. That whole time Dustin's trying to beat the shit out of him, and Steve's just repressing him as much as he can, and trying to stop him, and then he takes off. But and then he finds Brenner's notebook though, which real quick though,
Super
Brenner
random.
never thought to go back and take his notebook from the Upside Down. He knows how this works. It was wild to me. He left his entire works just chilling on a desk in the Upside Down for somebody to find.
Yeah, he didn't know he was going to die. Maybe, I don't know. But not Steve. Jonathan and Nancy, definitely my least favorite screen time out of all 3 episodes. I didn't really care for that. It was just really whatever. And like, I didn't even understand why the walls were gooping up and getting all gooey.
Right.
Didn't care. Just kind of let it go. I guess the walls are goopy right now, but they were
weird. It was weird. And then it just stopped.
Right. So.
Yeah. They didn't really explain that at all.
So with our people in the right side up, as you want to call it, we're getting Will the Wise, and he basically explains he doesn't have powers. He just stole them from the hive mind from Vecna. Joyce going over another plan. This is also these 3 episodes. My God. The planning, this plan, then that plan. And then they all like talk over each other. And then someone says, wait, I got it. And then he says the right thing. That happened like 4 times. They're doing it over and over and over again.
It's like they wanted to give the not so brainiac characters like their chance to give a cool plan. Steve and then the brother and sister,
Erica and Lucas. Yeah,
dude. And every time they made their plan, someone would get the screen and be like, "And then we're gonna end it all." And there'll be no more Vecna, no more Upside Down, and we'll be done with it. Like every time they had to sum up the end goal. Like once they complete, it was so annoying.
It is, and it doesn't help that a lot of the planning scenes are very corny. And so every once in a while, you have one big planning heist, montage per season. It's fine. It's like, all right, whatever. It's the fun little lead up to the conclusion. But yeah, when you just keep having them do it, it's not the best writing as far as dialogue goes in these scenes. It's just kind of corny and overdone. Like you said, Love. It's like, all right, we get it. You're planning. Let's have, because the only thing that happened in this volume was the attack on the hospital as far as action sequences go. Other than that, they were just planning stuff.
Right. So Lucas has the stupid plan. Erica has the slow plan, and they do the Frankenstein one first, which is pretty cool. I guess it was cool how it looked. But Will gets inside of Derek's mind first, and he's looking around in that like fake Vecna world, and then he gets into Henry's mind, right? Inside Vecna's mind.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's
as he's about to grab.
As he's about to choke. As he's choking out Max, snaps his leg and kind of saves him last second. So I did like that part of it.
Yeah, the last like quarter of the episode was actually really good for me. This and like the Frankenstein thing was kind of cool. I mean, that was a really fun little scene there. And then it worked out for them. And then it's really tense on the Max Hawley side too. You see Vecna's design, dude, is so cool. I'm really like every time he's on screen, more so than season 4, he just has a cool presence. I love the new design. And yeah, then Will getting into his head and screaming, run. So great way to end the scene. And that was before we learned all this extra lore about the Upside Down, which we'll get into. But the Frankenstein and Will, which so like they're saying he's a sorcerer, he's not a sorcerer. Why does he have Vecna's powers? Like,
well, it's because he's gay.
I
think it's just the season 1
Vecna's powers.
The season 1 connection that they have. I don't get Vecna's
powers. I guess so. It's just like he's stealing Vecna's powers, but he's not a sorcerer. But if he's not a sorcerer, how could he steal his powers? But it's also Vecna's powers. Maybe he's letting him borrow him for some reason. But he's also Will's able to use it against Vecna, so Vecna wouldn't willingly give him the power. So it's just like the why of Will having powers is kind of iffy.
Well, and we go back to the end of Volume 1 where it really genuinely felt like Vecna walked through to activate Will and then just left. Like he brought him up, he did the little thing with his head, and then he left. And that was before he brought him back and did the whole thing with Max and was like, all right, I gotta use it as a spy one more time. I need to find Max. But like, so I don't know. It's hard to tell. I still think there's an underlying motivation from Vecna that we're not aware of. Will is still being used, and I think he intentionally gave Will this access. Like, I think that's a part. There's no way that was accidental, and that's going to be the undoing of Vecna. I still have the feeling that, I mean, we'll get into it here, but I think the Mind Flayer is really still in the background of all this.
Right.
Well, the way the smoke kept coming out of people's mouths was a little different, and that felt like the Mind Flayer somehow, like its presence was leaving them.
Yeah, it reminded me of Harry Potter.
Yeah, it might not have been Mind Flayer, but it kind of looked like that.
No, but that's the upside down particles, like when they burn it out of Will in season 2 or 3, whenever that is, and then that comes out of his mouth all crazy and takes off out of the cabin. And then that's what happened when they finally burned the Demogorgon so much that it killed him and fried him, and then that cloud goes out. But I'm still confused as to what that is, because I thought that was Mind Flayer particles, so I don't know where it just went up into the air there.
Right.
But the fact that Will was able to just snap Vecna's leg and almost do the same thing with almost little to no control or understanding of this power was kind of almost a little too much. It was like, damn, the first time you guys tried this, you almost got Vecna. You almost snapped him down, and like he had to kind of, he could self-heal, I guess. But I don't know. I think there's stuff we still are going to find out in this last 2 hours that's pretty big about Vecna.
Well, and it felt ballsy even to do what they did at the end of this episode. Like, that felt like such a new concept to introduce in a finale too. So they could easily do that with Vecna in some way.
Right.
The way they turned it into a wormhole or whatever.
Right. Which, that's a whole, that whole, it wasn't this the episode 2 where the car, because this episode kicks off, the car punctures through that hole, and all of a sudden Stranger Things went to space, and it was super weird for a second.
That's the next episode, because this episode ends with them shooting the generator. Yeah, and then you don't see anything else. Yeah.
And it was a tense ending, right? Like, I would be so mad if we had to wait a week for the next episode, because Dustin figured it all out. He's screaming, running up the stairs, don't do it. Yeah. And then boom.
I literally hit play onto the next episode immediately. So I didn't need to wait there.
Same. So to wrap this episode up real quick, Vecna and the kids, Derek and Holly try to team up for a second, but then Vecna catches him and shows him his parents dead. So Derek's like, all right, I'm not messing around anymore. And then Max and Holly are trying to escape through the memories, which I thought was kind of cool how they like opened up like the books, and then it went into the library to Holly's next memory, and then it went to the night she got taken. But then Vecna finds them last minute, and that's where we end up with the Will scene again. So did you guys like the memory stuff? Is that confusing to you guys, or do you like the memory traveling?
I'm a little iffy on it.
What?
I just got somebody in the chat who just popped in and said, yo, triple vanillas, what's going on, gang? Triple vanilla.
Let's go.
What is going on? Sorry, go ahead, JD.
It was kind of iffy. Like, I'm not a big fan of the Max Holly stuff in volume 1, let's say, but some of it was cool. Like, oh, this yellow circle is out of place, like, and they crack that and go into a whole new memory. Some of it was pretty fun. And I think volume 2, Max and Holly was stronger than volume 1, but it's kind of weird digging into Vecna's minds. We already have so many dimensions we're dealing with and stuff. So it's like an upside down inside Vecna's mind, separate from upside down, separate from everything. And they're just doing their own mind stuff, which it kind of reminded me of David and I covering, it was like a Black Bolt part of one of the comics where someone is infiltrating someone's mind, and then you see Black Bolt and he says, get out. Get out, get out. That's exactly what Vecna did to Will. And we were saying on that episode, like, that felt like a cinematic scene to us. So that was kind of funny. Immediately made me think of that.
Well, you started Doctor Sleep, you're about to get that exact scene.
Yeah, and the
with
doctor
Rebecca
put me straight to
Ferguson.
sleep.
Yeah, well, and it's like 3 hours too, so it's probably gonna take you 6 or 7
You
watches.
you don't throw that one on at 11 p.m.
No, you don't. For a few reasons. There's a couple disturbing scenes in that movie, but there's a sequence with Rebecca Ferguson where it's the same thing. Somebody's taking control of her mind, and she has to do this get out thing, and it's exactly like that, honestly, from Stranger Things. There, Man Steel, yes, of course. Have you seen season 3? Of course. Sorry.
Of Stranger Things?
Yeah. He has something
No,
about
skip
he has
it.
something about Karen Wheeler. Well, NSFW.
Oh no.
What was the question? not the chat question, Love's question.
Let's move on to the next episode. Episode 6. Quick summary. The Upside Down is explained. At the radio station, Will is still unconscious. Lucas, Robin, and Mike try to figure out what happened and how Will was able to see Max. Will and Vecna meet again. John and Nancy are stuck in the melting room with some big confessions. Vecna finds Max in the real world, and Holly and Max go their separate ways. No journey. You don't get that reference?
Yeah, Journey.
Song
They
from
played
last
it
season?
last season. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, there you go.
Pulling up to the house.
So just like we talked about with the shield generator, that was bad and really dumb to do. Dustin was so wrong. And he talks about Brenner's journal, and he said that science made the wall. Like they created that wall to keep the vacuum from space.
Somebody tell Trump.
Because it's death behind that wall. It's basically a vacuum into space into the next dimension that Vecna is bringing, the mind flare dimension where all the monsters come from.
Dimension X.
Dimension X is on the other side, and that wall is keeping them separated, basically. So,
And the Upside Down is like the inside of the tube between the worlds. Is that what we're doing there? Or is it like the Upside Down was the world up here, and the tube was... I feel like the tube is the Upside Down.
But Dimension X and the Upside Down are two different things, though.
I know,
so,
but the Upside Down being the wormhole itself, the inside of
Yes.
that tube, and then
Yes.
Earth on top, and then Dimension X on the bottom.
Earth is on the bottom.
Or yeah, whatever.
Earth's on the bottom. The whole wormhole in that wall is the Upside Down.
Yeah.
And that is the gap going up to Dimension X, which is the planet up there. But I think on the outside of that wall, I think it's space. It's between two worlds.
Right.
And when that little hole punctures, the car floats out, and all of a sudden it's Stranger Things in space. It felt super weird. It didn't feel right. Watching the scene in space with
Secret Wars and all that.
Like
Dune, maybe
feel like the same show anymore. Yeah, it was odd, but
it was weird.
when they zoomed out and they showed that image of the wormhole, and that was pretty sick. I mean, and this is what I talked about when Volume 1 ended. JD, I think I mentioned, like, I think we're going to see a bridge thing, and it could be kind of. It's obviously not the bridge from the Fantastic Four, but the wormhole science to it and everything like that. It reminded me of a lot of Reed Richards stuff I read in the.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, feels like a Hickman kind of thing going to Secret Wars. Yeah. It really does. It also reminded me of one of my favorite Lord of the Rings scenes. So when Gandalf and Pippin see that green light in the sky, and from their POV and the POV of Frodo and Sam watching Sauron's army leave, it's just like this big, colorful, climactic change in things. And then, because then we go to Hopper and Elle, who are experiencing that crazy blue rift that just comes and opens up that wall, not knowing what the hell that is. So it felt like the same thing, but that was a really cool, like, concept, new thing for Stranger Things.
Yeah. I had one issue with that scene. So the vacuum of space is sucking a car through this hole.
Yeah.
And all these rocks and trees and debris, but Hopper's just standing there. He's good. Are they wearing metallic boots that are magnetized to the floor? Or how did they not get sucked up with? Because stuff was getting pulled from like 300 yards behind them. So if it had enough strength to pull massive objects from 300 yards behind them, how did it not pick up 110-pound Elle or Callie or Hopper? That one I was having, because halfway into it, then she starts using her powers to deflect it. But she wasn't doing that in the first half, so I don't know how they didn't get sucked into that wormhole too. That was a little plot armor there.
I think you're just gonna have to get all the way off their back about it.
I'll get off their back about it.
So Jonathan and Nancy, we'll get over this real fast. They're getting gooped They're getting, it almost seemed like an eraser in a way where everything it touched, it kind of just like erased. I don't know. It was weird how they're doing it, but they're just letting it all out. Their confessions about, like Nancy says I could have gone with you on spring break, but I didn't want to. I wanted to have like a break from you in my own time. And Jonathan's talking about his stuff. And then he shows her the cassette tape with the ring in it. And he says, will you not marry me? So the Duffer Brothers confirm this is them breaking up. So
it was,
and
yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Hell yeah,
Whoa.
Steven, thanks, brother. I didn't even.
What
put
is
that
going
up.
on in the
I
comments?
didn't even put
today?
that up.
Jeez, a spicy crowd.
Bring it on. Stick around; it'll get spicier. Anyway, what were you saying?
Jonathan and Nancy.
Yeah, so hilarious. Megan was sitting next to me while I'm watching that scene. She's not really watching the show. She doesn't watch the show. So she sees random bits and the scene's kind of wrapping up. She's like, oh, they're in love. I was like, actually, I think they kind of just did the opposite. She's like, what? I was like, I'm pretty sure they just broke up right there. And she goes, oh. and then I kept seeing on social media the next day or the comments is like, well, no, they're not broken. That was them professing their love for each other and that they're going to keep working. Like, so many people did not take that as it was a breakup. And so I guess hella people online are all upset that it was revealed by the Duffers. But that's what I took it as. They said unmarried and like they clearly stated that, yes, we love each other. Yes, we have shared trauma, but like that's not something to build a life on. Like we need to move on. So the first 80% of it, I was rolling my eyes, did not care, was looking at my phone. By the end of it, it was like, all right, that makes sense, like move on, yada yada. But everything around it, the stuff just freezing solid out of nowhere. It was just like, we only got an episode and a half left of this volume. I don't need Jonathan and Nancy talking about this more. So it's all right. Now we can move on.
And they left the ring. They didn't even pick the ring up. So that should have been your first sign. It just sat over there. In the
at least pawn it.
Right.
The diamond, brother. It's 1980.
And I guess that broke a lot of the theories that, Jonathan was going to get Vecna and she was going to use the cassette to bring him back. So there goes that. Dustin kind of admits to Steve he can't go through losing a friend again. That's why he's been pushing everyone away, and they kind of kiss and make up, which is good for the rest of the show. Or they hug it out. Yeah.
I like that scene. I was sick of their
scene.
Yeah. Again, Gaten killed it in this scene. Like he starts panicking straight up, like Louis panicking when we're leaving the house, just full spastic, just like sputtering, just could not get a real sentence out. And then the ladder falls through right after. So Steve was about to die there. So it was nice. I don't know if I enjoyed the scene more or just was relieved, like, okay, we're done with this garbage bickering. But Gaten killed it.
Yeah.
Will is still out cold, and Robin has another crazy plan. Here we go again. She says, let's pretend everything Will saw was real, and then goes through her whole thing. I don't even know if it actually comes to fruition, but basically they need to rely on Max and Holly to save humanity. Like she says, all their minds are trapped in the same place. Will, Holly, and Max. She's not really in a coma. Like Will's not really in a coma. So she goes through her all crazy plan. And then Vecna comes up to Will and says he's going to be his spy one last time. And that's when the blood starts shooting out of his eyeballs. And I will say, Vecna has a lot going on right now. He's spinning a lot of plates. He has 12 kids at home. One's ran away. Another one almost ran away. He has people in the Upside Down to worry about and his Demigorgons. And he's got Will and all the other people tied up. Like, he's got a lot going on. But did you like this Will as the spy one last time and kind of the whole situation there?
For me, it kind of felt like a step back. There's a couple things in this episode that kind of felt like that temporarily, but I'm just like, we're just back with him in control of Will, or, so, and then it wasn't very important anyway. He kind of just gets right out of that and goes back home. So now what? He's just a spy again. And so like, I don't know. That was all right. Whatever. But yeah, Vecna's got a lot going on. So that one really like kind of just went over my head. Not necessarily. It's just immemorable. It doesn't feel important to the plot, but we'll see how it goes.
I think Noah Schnapp, could have had a really strong season.
It started
with
well.
His performance. I don't think it's his fault. I think it's the Duffer Brothers. I think we got 3 too many scenes of Will stuttering, kind of revealing his emotions and what he's dealing with, struggling mentally with Vecna, which I get it. But they did it like 3 or 4 times, it felt like, in that episode, of different people he was talking. We just had so many emotional conversations with Will and somebody else in the last 3 or 4 episodes that it's like, okay. And then the way they ended episode 7, and it's just like, it's all about Will's feelings in these last 2 seasons or episodes, which, I don't really care much for. But the whole thing with him using him to hunt down Max, I liked that. There was something else with that scene. I forgot. There was something else when Will was being captured by Vecna and all the vines around him, but it was all right. Oh, that's what it was. We learned that Will was the one who dug all those tunnels in season 2.
Yeah.
So Vecna had been using Will that entire time. Every time Will slept, he was controlling the vines that were digging out these tunnels, which is why he selected him, because as we talked about before, he's the creative one of the group. Will the wizard, he is the artist. He constructs these campaigns, and so that's why Vecna used him to construct this massive tunnel system. So that was
that part about it. That part was better, than the way I made it seem. So I forgot that was really cool. And then that you go back to that season with Will, and that's why he's so like kind of weird and
right,
dark and somber. So it kind of makes more sense.
And it would when Will closed his eyes, would it show like the tunnels being like going through? I remember,
yes, it did.
It showed
totally
like
did.
someone going underground and like making tunnels. So that was the connection to
Good
that.
call. It totally showed him doing that, but I just thought he was just traversing it in his mind.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. No, that was good.
I did like the quick scene with Joyce and Hopper where Joyce is talking about her situation with Will, about how she's like kind of maybe thinks she's been holding him back, but it's really Hopper's like thinking about 11 the whole time, and like, damn, I've probably been doing the same thing. So I did like
literally what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's literally what I'm doing right now and been doing. Yeah, so Hopper's kind of reverted back to his old self in a way. Like I feel like they kind of built that trust up to where he's going back now and like holding her back because he probably doesn't want her to die. I get it, but I don't know. Yeah. So Elle goes into the tank and finds Will, rips the tentacles off. That was pretty easy. So super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Yeah. Yeah, seemed inconsequential, that whole thing.
Right. But Elle, I did like how Elle said she's talking to Mike about how they can create more monsters with their blood, and she's telling Mike like this isn't your world D&D game. Like you don't get to write the ending. Like you don't get to create the whole story. But he's like, this is our story. We get to do it anyway. So we'll see how that goes.
Everything has been every part of their plan, like all through those seasons, has been more or less connected to D&D characters or dimensions or threats or demons.
So Max and Holly, they're hiding in the cave and still hiding from Henry inside there. And then Lucas plays her song in the hospital. They're searching for the desert and they find that hole in the ground where there's that ladder going down. And there's like an old guy down there and they think they're shooting at him at first, but they're shooting at young Henry. And maybe this was his first kill, unless he killed his parents before that. I was kind of confused as to what was going on.
Yeah, so was I. Very interesting.
Right.
Oh, by the way, Love, what's your favorite character in Stranger Things? Ooh, that's a comment from Mohammed.
My favorite character in Stranger Things.
I almost wanted to say Elle, but I don't like. It's not necessarily. She's not really standing out lately. Yeah, like season 1, of course.
It's probably Steve and Dustin.
I feel like I want to say, Steve. Steve or Dustin,
yeah. Dave, welcome back.
Yeah. Steve and Dustin, pretty cool.
Who's your favorite character
out of those two, or in the whole show? Yeah, probably Steve. Would have been Steve and Dustin until he's been kind of pissing me off this season, but he's back. Overall, pound for pound, from start to finish, Steve for sure.
Yeah. So the Demogorgons arrive at the hospital, and Lucas gets her out of there right in time. And then this is where Max and Holly are like just slowly walking everywhere they're going. Like I was getting so mad. Like you had the bubble open up before and Lucas was going to save you and you started running then and it closed, but now you're just like strolling across, just having your good old time, chatting it up. Like, get the fuck out of there.
That was the most. What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you talking? Yeah, like as you just said, like the last time this happened, it disappeared 2 seconds too short and you were stuck for 2 years. You'd think you would just run and get the hell out of there, but no, we're talking for a while. We're talking more. And the whole Max telling Holly, we're almost there. You're almost home. We're almost home. The gates open. By the way, you can't come with me. So good luck.
Yeah.
You got this. You're going to do great, kid. It's like, whoa, hold on.
That
Like,
was messed up.
that's kind of mess. And then they wrote the whole, all of a sudden a portal appears for Holly and it's fine. But before that, like, it was just like, you totally just let her on so you could escape.
Yeah, you could have told her that earlier. That was a last minute surprise. By the way, you're by yourself from now on.
She said, we are almost home multiple times. She never once said, I'm almost home. Like,
yeah.
And she's even like, Holly earlier was like, you said she said, you're almost home once. She's like, does that mean you're not coming with me? She's like, oh no, of course I'm coming with you. And it's like, no, at the end, it's like, no, wait, I'm going, you're staying.
Oh no.
we'll get to that later. We'll just keep moving. We did forget to talk about, though, before they got to that point. We had that brief interaction with them seeing a young Henry in the caves. And that doctor.
Yeah, no, you missed it.
Oh, did I miss that? Son of a gun. All right. Well, did you talk about the fact? So he kills that.
It might be like his first kill or something. Was that the first person he killed?
Yeah, and we got a hint at, again, him being a misunderstood villain with Holly's line of, why did the doctor, he was just trying to help. Why did he do that to Henry? Like, is this why Henry is the way he is? Like, so it was another hint at a misunderstood Vecna origin story there. But the most interesting part, which Nemesis in the chat mentioned here, there's that briefcase
what's
that the doctors hold. It's the mind flare particles. And I think he opens it and I think that's when he's exposed to the mind flare. And I think that's going to end up being Henry has been controlled by the mind flare since he was a kid. And he's just a vessel for the mind flare, as all these other kids are vessels for him. So I think that's going to get revealed. I'm still not wanting Vecna to have a redemption and to stop the mind flare at the end or anything like that. But I'm like 90% sure that is going to be the reveal, that Vecna has been being controlled this whole time.
I really like that. So it's like the mind flare is the big bad, and he powered up Vecna to do his bidding. I'd love that. That'd be sick.
Yep.
It makes sense.
He found a vessel that just popped in there one day and was like, oh, now I can get out of this desert landscape and create my own world and, yada, yada. So
stuff like that'll make the rewatch in the future so much better. Seeing the mind flare in season 1 and 2 again. Stuff like that. That'd be cool.
Straight up.
If that's the case, right? We'll see.
There's a lot of Vader parallels here, so we'll see.
We Karen with the save as well, and Man Steel. Yes.
MVP.
That was cool. I'm still waiting for my boy Ted to come play the game, bro, and start ripping skulls.
Where is he?
Harvesting organs, teeth, demagogues. Dude, let's go.
I half expected to see him come through another door with like an axe or something.
It's again, everyone just forgot about Ted, dude. He's not showing up again.
He's just
no
gone. Yeah,
he's like never really been there.
He's probably back
it's
at
like
home.
The Sixth Sense, dude. He's been a ghost the whole time.
It's gonna be the last episode. Oh no, that's right. Yeah, no, Ted didn't make it. He died in the hospital. He didn't make it through his wounds.
Holy shit.
And did the Demodogs really make a Scooby-Doo sound right before the bomb went off? They're
the
like,
head tilt.
I was like, what the fuck was that?
And there was a few plot armor things like that saved the kids. Like, there's music playing. Then the Demodogs just looked over every inch before going towards the loud music playing in the corner of the room. They also charged and 8 soldiers that had weapons on instant, but Lucas was just able to front kick one while holding Max and a speaker. He was just able to front kick one and get to the elevator. So there was a few scenes where it was like, pretty sure you're supposed to be dead right now, but that's fine. Yeah, Karen Wheeler with another MVP moment.
Yeah. All right. Episode 7. So the final plan is hatched in this episode. Will's big reveal to everyone. 11 and Callie make a pact. Holly gets recaptured by Vecna and Max wakes up. So Holly escapes her cocoon in the Upside Down, but it's like, where the hell is she? I was really confused when she got out of there because she wasn't in the Upside Down. She was like in the Dimension X, I guess. That's where Vecna's main lair
Right.
is. And Vecna arrives. She runs away, and she finds like a hole in the ground where you can see it looks like the Upside Down underneath. And then she just starts like skydiving. And I thought she was gonna like splat and like just cocoon off the ground for a second. Because later when they're like, "Where's Holly?" and Nancy's like pretty sad, I'm like, "Oh no, she just fucking kerplatted the ground." But she, I guess we're talking about now. She's like floating in the air, and then all of a sudden, like Nancy's out there, and then just gets ripped back to Vecna's lair. So that was pretty scary, I'd say.
2 questions. One, if Vecna didn't catch her, she would have just splattered, right? She'd just be dead, right? Because they fell pretty hard when they were going through the trailer Upside Down thing, and she was going full speed. And the second question is, I'm pretty sure that's where the shield generator was located. I'm pretty sure she landed in the middle of that shield generator. So I genuinely was waiting when her eyes got wide. I thought it was about to get all red and violent and just eviscerate her, because that was the same area Nancy shot with a shotgun.
Right.
But apparently it was just Vecna force pulling her. But yeah, either way, I was for sure she was just dead.
Yeah, I was wondering why she landed exactly where our characters were. Because I remember going into that scene, I was like, she's going to start falling. There's no way she's going to land right next to all of our characters, because that would be ridiculous. But sure enough, she lands, or she was going to land right by them. Because then before, I was like, if Vecna really wanted her that bad, he's walking really slow, man. I mean, he's just
Right.
strolling towards her. But I guess he could just force pull her back up. So that was okay, I guess. But then again, I'm not thrilled to have Holly back in Vecna's mind. It felt like Will back with Vecna. It felt like taking a step back, because now we're just here with these annoying kids who are very committed to Vecna's cause and trying to get her to fall in line and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, felt like a step back.
Henry's still manipulating the kids, telling them that Max is the monster, works for the Black Thing. They wake Holly up to try to convince her, and Derek's still too scared to say anything. And then they start fighting each other, and those kids are vicious. They're like pushing her down and trying to like choke her out with the necklace on. That was a little
Stephen
brutal.
King children.
Yeah,
Absolutely
right,
Stephen King
right.
children. Yeah.
And then everyone's at the table holding hands, and he does like the neck back thing. So they're all been shadow realmed for now.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess, I mean, Holly wasn't even willing at that point. Derek just gave, well, I don't even blame Derek. He's like 9 years old, and Vecna just showed him his entire family brutally murdered around him. So I don't blame him for being like, okay, I'll do whatever you're saying, man. I don't blame him at all for that. But yeah, it just seemed easy that the kids didn't even need to be convinced, and Vecna could still just make them all hold hands. And it was like, what's that movie, Talk to Me, that just came out, where they grab the hand and their heads snap back? That's what kind of
Right.
reminded me of there in that scene. Pretty creepy though. Pretty creepy.
Yeah. So Max wakes up, and there's a big reunion. Will's having second thoughts about his abilities, as where he talks about how he created all the tunnels. Max explains that she told Holly that she has to go back to her house. That's where they're gonna find her. They get Mr. Clark. That's the teacher's name, right?
Yeah.
He gets the balloons out to pinpoint the locations in the Upside Down, which I thought was kind of cool. It made sense. Get a wider range to pinpoint them in. Whatever. Don't look too deep into it.
Yeah.
And then I did like the teacher's reaction when Elle pulls the camera down and opens the metal plate. He's just like, "What the fuck just happened?" So that was kind of cool, because everyone else is so used to her by now. And then
Yeah. It's nice seeing
Right.
an outside eye on it.
this is where we see Holly get sucked back up. And then here's Dustin and his crazy plan with the interdimensional bridge. The abyss is home to all the monsters. And then Vecna connected the two dimensions, and he's going to amplify his ability to move worlds. So Dustin, just figuring it all out, writes it all up on the window. These kids are pretty smart. Everything they say normally is right.
Yeah, more plans. And then Steve gets his plan after that. But again, a giant plan scene that ended with, and then it'll all be over, and Vecna will disappear, and we'll be safe again.
Don't forget about Hopper's plan, though. Hopper also has a plan to steal a helicopter and fly it up. Well, steal a helicopter in the Upside Down at the military base, fly it up into Dimension X. And then, yeah, Steve says we don't need the magic beam. We just wait till the two worlds are close enough, which seems kind of last minute, honestly. When the worlds are that close, you got to like move pretty fast to take out Vecna or everyone's screwed.
Yeah. I don't know. This whole scene was kind of ridiculous, but it was my good thing coming out of it, which Hopper's plan. I'm fairly certain helicopters have a max altitude that they can fly. I'm fairly certain you would not be able to fly a helicopter as high as you needed to get to the world up through that wormhole. I don't think helicopters fly that high. But then again, I don't know how gravity works in the wormhole, but that scene, it was pretty funny. They were, Dustin's like, the rotors are like 40 feet wide. How in the world is that going to fit through? And Robin with Steve says that all the time, but he still gets it done. And isn't that right, Steve? What the hell is wrong with you? Like that scene, that one got me. That was a pretty funny little line there.
So Mr. Clark and Erica get the gate code for Murray. And this is where 8 and 11 have that kind of talk where basically 8 says they need to sacrifice themselves to save everyone else because the military will never stop looking for them. So this is their plan. They're going to go kill Vecna. And then once everyone walks back through, they're going to stay behind and stay inside Dimension X as it disintegrates, basically saving the whole world, but killing themselves. So this is where Hopper's even like in the back, like looking at them still, like still questioning everything. So I don't trust 8. I think there's something she's not telling us.
I think there's something she's not telling us, but I think that was my prediction was Elle is going to stay behind, close the portal down from the Upside Down and seal it off, but she would have to sacrifice herself to fully seal it off. And it sounds like that's where we're heading towards this. So because the whole thing, and I don't know, maybe I was lagged out, but we got the whole information about Dr. K and what she's doing. And she's taking on Dr. Brenner's research and she's doing the same thing, creating more kids. 8's blood didn't work, so now they need L's, and L's blood will be able to allow them to reproduce this entire experiment. No matter if Dr. K dies, there will be another doctor. There will be more military members that will continue to do these experiments and open up more dimensions. So L has to, cut herself off from being an access point to that. I think that's how it's going to end. Sticking with it, feeling good about it.
But maybe not now since they said it.
I know that's the only portion where I'm like, well, dang it, maybe they go against it now. Maybe that's a setup, but I'm still holding on to it.
I heard a theory today. It's not my own. It's actually from Heavy Spoilers. That once they kill Vecna, everyone loses their powers. So when Vecna is destroyed, 11 doesn't have powers anymore, so she won't be hunted.
Damn it!
That kind of makes sense too, right?
It makes too much sense. Damn it!
Right.
I kind of think 8 might. They might use her and make her seem like she's gonna mess everything up or do something malicious, and we're gonna think Elle is going to sacrifice herself, and then 8's over there and she kind of takes the brunt of the weight and ends up sacrificing herself actually, so we don't have to lose our main character, and they could wrap up their show with a nice bow without killing off Elle. I bet you there's a good chance 8 does that by the end, but you think she's sinister, something's going wrong up until that point, maybe.
Yeah, the only thing is just if Elle still has her powers, and that still does apply, that she'll always be hunted if she has her powers.
That is a thing, yeah, big time. So, then she'd still be there.
You have to wonder.
But is that more like, oh yeah, because if you just defeat that military, that group of pretty much villains, right? That's like you said before, the next one will just come to use that blood anyway, or chase her down or something. Who knows?
Right. So there's a higher entity that is behind this operation.
All right, let's get to the big reveal of Will. So first of all, I do want to say, well, let's be delicate with this as much as possible. I think from a real world aspect, this is an important scene to have in a show. There are like kids, young adults, even adults out there who maybe don't feel comfortable with their sexuality or who they really are. So they feel like they have to hide it. So having a scene like this is important for people out there, to like have the confidence in themselves, but the world is ending and maybe this isn't the time. And also if these are really Will's best friends who they've known his entire life. They probably already know, and they've stuck with you through thick and thin, through all the crazy shit you've been through. You think they're gonna all leave you now because you're
Sexual
gay?
preferences.
Yeah, like
Oh
I
God,
don't
get
know.
out of here.
yeah, I guess Vecna showed him his future and it really scared him. But like, I don't know. I see both sides of it. So how did this come off to you? And also, this wasn't the best acting. I didn't like the really like breathy stuff he was doing. I don't know. And I guess it took 12 hours to film.
Oh, I saw that too. Yeah, that's crazy.
Is that? I don't know. I look. So I know it's a big moment for Noah Schnapp too. He's gay in real life, so obviously this scene meant a lot to him. And I agree with you, Leb. There are plenty of projects that have storylines told like this. Last of Us, episode 3, season 1 is my favorite episode of the season. It's not even about the Last of Us story. It's a side story. It has to do with a homosexual storyline that goes on without it, and it's told in a beautiful way. I just don't think this is the time and place for this at this point in this season, at this point of the story where this interdimensional psychic psychopath killer is coming to end the world on this day. And the only thing that's going to get them over that hump and help them defeat him is if Will tells everybody he's gay. And like that to me is like, oh, okay. Time and place. I don't think this was the time of the story or the story to be making this grandstand with an episode left with the stakes we have. And it all comes down to Will having the courage to come out as gay. It's like it was done. Yeah, it was done tastefully. It was done well, but in the time and the way at the point of the story they did it, it was just like, so really the only thing that's going to overcome Vecna is Will accepting himself as gay. That's the only thing that will stop the world from ending is Will being okay with himself being gay. Okay. All right. I guess that's what we're doing. But it was done in a tasteful way. It was a nice touching moment. I would have much rather preferred they did this in another earlier season, and it wasn't the deciding factor of whether he could defeat Vecna or not if he told people he was gay. It's my take.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
JD, do you want to touch this?
Well, I was okay with it. I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't, it was okay. But I thought his acting was actually pretty solid. He was a little dramatic, little like,
I didn't mind that. Yeah.
But Noah Schnapp, I think, really came into his character here. So just acting wise, it was solid. But yeah, it does feel totally unimportant to what's going on as far as a finale. As far as keeping it together, I kind of, the sentiment behind that is okay enough for me. Like, so we're out in the open. Everyone's fully honest and genuine. Everyone knows what's up, I guess. But that's all right.
And maybe it's because it was obviously coming for a while. Season 2, we already started getting the hints at it and whatnot. So I don't know. This being the thing that'll take down Vecna. And so Ella in the chat saying, I think he did it because Vecna was holding over him. He was afraid, but now he isn't. So Vecna can't get in his mind anymore. And that is one aspect for sure. But that can't be the only thing he's afraid of. Everybody has fears that Vecna is able to manipulate, and it can't be just the homosexual secret. And we had the same thing with Richie in the It movies. They didn't play into it quite as heavy. There was a reveal at the end there. But yeah, I get the concept behind it. To me, as far as the timing goes in the plot, it's like, that doesn't seem like the most important thing in the world right now, but all right.
Yeah. He had a crush on Mike too. The crush on Mike part was kind of funny where Mike looked over like, whoa,
Like,
wait, what?
damn.
Wait, what? And they're all Steve Martin fans, and we love Steve Martin here at the Why So Sidious podcast, so we can agree there.
Oh yeah,
He said that.
Bringing down the house. That's
No, he
Steve Martin?
said like we I might be different from you guys, but we both like this. We both love Steve Martin, and we both love.
I
else.
missed that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, we both love the old people smell in the basement. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, the old people smelling Mike's basement. Yeah.
Everybody's like, nobody likes that, bro. You're weird. What are you talking about?
So and then they arrive at the base. That was kind of cool. They plow through with the van. Also, Hopper's killed a lot of people in this show. My God, he just does not hesitate anymore. Just gunning down military guys. Nancy pops out the top, starts shooting people too.
Thought that part was goofy.
A little goofy, yeah.
I'm sorry, bro. You got a teenage girl, and she's a badass. Don't get me wrong. She's rocking this. She knows how to operate a firearm more than any of that group does. but you got her popping out unprotected with soldiers on both sides that have cover, and she's just picking them off one by one as these military trained soldiers just get wiped out by Nancy. Like, that was a bit much for me. So the Rambo
haven't
scene was
ever
a bit much.
I haven't ever liked the gun wielding Nancy. It's just haven't really bought it ever in any of those scenes.
Like, I can buy her shooting something point blank in front of her with a shotgun.
Sure.
And it's still they play into it a lot. They try to make her Linda Hamilton from Terminator for sure. But this one was like, she would have got shot. There's no way.
And then they head through the gate to the Upside Down, to where we arrive at our finale of all of Stranger Things. So real quick overall thoughts. How did you guys like this compared to Volume 1?
Ooh, coming out of it, I think Volume 1 was better, more impactful. But a lot of cool stuff here, man. I really like the, doing something like switching up the lore concept of the Upside Down. Shouldn't have worked, but I thought that actually really worked.
No, yeah.
And Vecna's presence, Vecna's great, but yeah, not a lot to take out of the Volume 2.
Right. It was slower, definitely.
Yeah, Volume 1 was way better. It was night and day for me. Volume 2 felt like a very long setup for the finale. But when each episode is an hour to an hour and a half, that's a 4-hour setup for the finale that I felt like they could have taken more time. Now, again, we got the Upside Down reveal. That was cool. There was still a few cool things in it, but as far as pound for pound entertainment goes, Volume 1 was in the 8s for me, and Volume 2 is probably low 7s for me.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Is anyone going to go see it in theaters on New Year's Eve?
Oh, I really want to, but I doubt it because I got a little bit of a hectic lifestyle. Just because 3 kids and a 4th coming.
Whoa!
What?
Go.
Oh yeah, no, I knew that. What the? I don't know why
on
I
the
just reacted
podcast,
that
though.
way. I just learned somebody else was expecting for a second there. I was like, oh, that's news. That's funny.
It comes
I
out on
don't think I'm
Netflix
going.
same day, right?
Yeah,
Same day,
same time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably not.
I
then.
don't think I'm going. Yeah.
Might have
Me
to
neither.
save that $40.
I would go if
Right.
there was an earlier showing, but I think the first showings are at 6:00, so it comes out the same time as Netflix. If there was
There's
like a
New
matinee,
Year's Day. There's New
oh,
Year's
yeah.
too, but yeah, I just don't think I'm gonna make it.
So,
Oh.
who do you think's going to
Oh,
die?
There you go.
Steve, I think,
Death
especially Steve and
predictions.
Dustin.
Dude, that's what I was
Steve and
going
Dustin
to
are like,
say.
if you die, I die.
Yeah,
Like,
if
we're
you fall,
doing
I
this
fall.
together. Yeah, I was like,
That's felt so foreshadowy, and now.
like one of them has to go out. I don't think both of them actually, but one of them.
Yeah.
I think it's both or none too, just because they can't do that to Dustin again. He just broke down about how he can't leave Steve. He can't lose Steve too after he lost Eddie. They just
then
take Steve away from him too. They can't do
That's a
that.
good point.
There's no way. So they either both go or they both survive in my mind. Or Dustin dies, actually, I guess, and Steve has to deal with the loss. That'd be pretty brutal. But
With Jonathan breaking up and Nancy and them breaking up, do you think that makes it more likely or less likely that Jonathan dies?
More,
Because I thought it was like the death was gonna pick the boy for Nancy.
I think Nancy's gonna die, actually.
Oh,
She said
I feel like
Steve's
the
got
they
it
don't
leaders
have the
say-
balls.
out.
They don't have the balls, dude.
She has nothing figured out. She has her peaceful ending with Jonathan there. She just said she doesn't want to be with Steve. I think maybe she goes out. I think maybe we lose Nancy.
Hopper.
Yeah,
Hopper.
Hopper for sure. Hopper's dying.
I don't know.
L.
I'm not gonna
I'm
go
going
with
L.
Hopper yet.
Elle's gone.
Yeah,
L's
L
not
seems
dying.
likely.
That was my theory that we ended last season with. I'm sticking to it. Elle's dying.
Just for the happy ending, I'm gonna put like 8 Dustin and Steve above L, and then
Hopper.
and
I would
then
do
I don't
8.
have Hopper. I'd go L and then Hopper maybe below that because I think maybe
Okay.
well it depends because if L dies, she doesn't need a dad. Maybe they both die, but I don't think Hopper dies and L survives. It's kind of one of those Steve Dustin things.
Yeah.
I could see L dying, Hopper sticking around, or 8 dying. Dustin
No,
and
Hopper
Steve.
can't lose another daughter, though. That's another thing. He can't lose a second
Oh.
daughter.
Maybe okay.
They
Wow,
both die.
that's a good point. Maybe
Elle's
that's-
dying. So if he can't lose the daughter, Hopper's dying too.
You're just stuck to this. I think it's Hopper 8 and Jonathan. I'll say that.
Yeah, 8 don't matter. She's gonna die
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
But I know, and nobody's gonna care except Elle. But I mean, seriously, all she's done is piss people off at this point. So,
Right.
yeah. Outside of that, death predictions. I mean, Vecna, obviously.
No, Mike, Will, Lucas. You think they're
I
all
think
safe?
Mike and Will survive. I think maybe Lucas dies. I could see a Lucas death coming.
Max?
Also,
No,
with
not
Dustin,
after all that.
right? But also with Dustin, he got his ass kicked. So after all that, too, like he's been going down all this dark stuff. Just wrecked by these dudes. Then you kill him off. I don't know.
He
Maybe
might
Jonathan
actually
and
make a
Nancy.
sacrifice that Eddie
Right,
didn't,
that's what I
and
thought, too.
Dustin
They would-
actually makes a meaningful sacrifice.
Since they were talking about it, do something that really saves people, and they do it together.
Or shoot, no, that's Steve. It's going to be Steve because the whole relationship between Steve and Dustin and Eddie made a sacrifice that didn't actually, and now Steve's going to be the one to make a sacrifice that does save everybody. Oh God, I don't want to watch Dustin.
But then you
I don't
just
know. I'm
lost
going back
Steve.
and
Then you
forth.
did
I
that to
know.
Dustin
I
again.
just contradicted my first prediction. So then I'm sticking with Elle. I'm sticking with Hopper. And Joyce, let's kill her.
Oh, not when
Whoa!
the
Out of
rider,
left
dude.
field. She almost died in volume 1. I thought she was done. I thought Will was going to watch her die as the Demogorgon.
He almost died 4 times in volume 4 or
Yeah.
season 4.
No, my most
Russia.
confident predictions is Hopper and Elle both die, and Jonathan or Nancy. So those 3, Hopper and Elle for sure, and then one or the other between Jonathan or Nancy. Those are my.
I got
3.
Steve, Dustin, and 8 are my top 3 most likely.
Yeah, I'll add 8. too.
Besides, like the Vecnas and stuff like that. I don't know.
right.
I guess just Vecna.
So Lub, what's your most confident one?
Hopper. And then 8, if you want to throw 8 in there. And then I would do, I'm going to say Jonathan and Nancy.
Go out
Like
together.
like a Romeo and Juliet type of thing.
I could see that.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for our coverage. And if you guys want to stay here on YouTube, we'll be doing a little Week in Geek right afterwards. Yes, Dave?
Sorry, I wanted to throw out one more thing before the next episode came because I think this is going to happen. That cave where all those kids are in, the 12 pillars, I'll make it real quick. The cave that Holly wakes up in, there's teeth all over that cave, like massive white teeth. I think they're in the mouth of a massive beast. I think they're in the mouth of that massive thing that Nancy said she saw, a massive monster with a gaping mouth. And I think there's some insane beast that's going to rise out of the ground from there. There are straight up teeth in that cave. That's my final prediction.
And do you see the teeth in Vecna's face too? Like in his mask he's wearing?
There's stuff
There's like
going on.
little-
There's a connection there. So I don't know. I think that's a big beast that he's within there. I don't know.
Okay.
Dude, Ted's gonna come harvest teeth, like I
Shai
said.
Hulud? Is it Shai Hulud, Dave?
Exactly. It's a crossover.
All right, well, that wraps it up for our coverage. And of course, stay tuned for our City Awards, box office draft, and our coverage of the finale and the end of Stranger Things. So we'll see you next time here at Why So Sidious, a nerd podcast.